Every major breakthrough I've had in my life started with discomfort first. I was uncomfortable. So if that uncomfortable, uneasy feeling that you've been feeling is actually indication that you're growing, that you're headed the right direction. Today's video, I'm going to show you why the life that you desire or the business you desire requires a version of you that doesn't exist yet. And three things to consider so you could become that person sooner instead of later. First, let's start by defining the word growth. According to Google, growth at its core means the process of increasing in size or amount. The word that stands out to me in that definition is the word process. That word challenges me. I grew up in the 90s playing video games, and I still remember like it was yesterday when Blockbuster came out with the new video game for the Nintendo 64. But right next to the video game on the end cap of the aisle, they would sell the cheat code books. And for 20 or $25 that I never had to be able to pick up a copy, I would flip through those and work diligently to remember one of the cheat codes. Why am I sharing that? I'm sharing that because I don't know about you, but for me, I so badly wanted to skip the process. I wanted to go from level one to winning the end of the game. Well, the truth is that I was going to say unfortunately, but it's actually fortunately and unfortunately, there's no way to skip the process of becoming. So growth at its core means the process of increasing size or amount. So if you're looking to expand, to grow your business, you're going to have to grow from the inside out in order to pull that off. Here's what I mean by that. Growth, it's going to stretch your identity. Business is a way to accelerate personal growth, in my opinion. Why is that? It's because, you're going to be challenged with who you actually believe you are. Meaning that if you have the fear of rejection, that's going to show up every time people tell you no. The things on the inside are going to show up and you're going to be exposed. Business will expose you. It's like this. If this is a lemon, right? And if I were to squeeze this lemon, what's going to come out? Lemon juice. I promise you it would be lemon juice. I'm not going to make a mess. It's lemon juice. However, with this lime, if I were to squeeze this lime, what's going to come out? It's going to be lime juice. I'm not going to squeeze a lime and get lemon juice and vice versa. Here's why I bring this up is because when the pressure is on, when the person shows up late, when the client that you thought was going to sign the deal changes their mind overnight, when something happens that you did not expect, when circumstances don't go your way, what you believe and who you are in those moments is going to be exposed. You will be revealed. And that could be a chance to reveal your deeper identity. It also, growth is going to happen. It's going to challenge your routines. Launching a business or being a business owner, working with people, whether you have a product or service, it's going to mess up your routine. It's going to challenge your capacity for time. Your beliefs are going to be exposed. Your level of capacity is going to be exposed. Have you ever wondered how somebody like Richard Branson from Virgin Mobile, how is it one person has so many businesses? Last I heard, he has over 50 businesses. How does one person struggle to maintain one small business? And then you have somebody like Richard Branson, who has over 50 businesses. It's the capacity, how they manage their time, the activities they do within the time. All of that is going to be challenged. So growth is increasing in size or amount. Most people want growth and they want to skip the process. They want to skip the tension of the growing pains or the labor pains of growing. But here's the truth. Tension is actually part of growth. It's part of the transformation. So comfort preserves. Our instinct is to do what's comfortable and what comes naturally or easy. However, discomfort will actually develop you. It's part of that becoming process. A mistake I see so many people make is they give up before they get started, meaning that they implement the strategy, they try it once or twice, and then they quit. So maybe today's message, you're here to be encouraged, to lean into the discomfort, to don't quit, keep doing the right activities over time, and have realistic expectations of things happening over time. Nothing great is built overnight. Think about a marriage. Nobody has a marriage where they just get married and all of a sudden they have the best marriage in the world. A great marriage or great relationship or a great business, it develops over time. It's going to take time. There's no cheat codes, there's no hacks. And I think that's challenging because in today's time, we could tune in to a YouTube channel or pick up a book. I have a bookcase full of books that have titles like the 5 ways to accelerate this, the 5 ways to get that. To all of those are fine. Read the books, listen to the podcast. I'm gonna calm down right now. I sense that I'm getting a little worked up over this. The reason that I get worked up over this is because I see so many people get discouraged and frustrated and quit prematurely because they have expectations like there's some type of success secret. There's not. It's always doesn't matter what the business is, it's always getting back to the basics. There's no cheat codes in life. So if growth doesn't feel uncomfortable, it's probably due to the fact that you're not growing. So here's what I'd say. Point number one today that I want to make it clear is this: lean into the discomfort. Lean into the discomfort. If it's not challenging you, it's not changing you. And there's no standing still in life. When I was younger, I had this hallucination, this made up story that someday in the future, it's going to be better today. And all I need to do is put my life in neutral, put it in cruise control and just kick back and relax. And unfortunately, I'm discovering that that's not reality. There's always changes. And what's fascinating about growth is that in order for things to get worse, all I have to do is nothing. For example, with my health, if I want my health to decline, I don't have to try to make it decline. All I have to do is nothing. Stop going to the gym. Stop paying attention to what I eat. Stop paying attention to what I'm consuming, what I'm eating, and just not pay attention. And pretty soon I'll find myself in a not ideal place with my physical body. But in order for my body to get stronger, for my mind to get sharper, to get a lower body fat percentage, for example, I have to be intentional. So in your life, for your business or your life to get better, you're going to have to be intentional. But if you want your business to get worse, all you have to do is nothing. Growth, for things to get better, it's always going to require growth and it's always going to be out of your comfort zone. The second thing I want to discuss today is that what got you here? What got you here as a business owner? What got you here is not going to get you there. Right now the year is 2026. I don't know what year you're watching this video. And yet to me, I used to hear older people say, the older you get, the more time goes by fast. And yet here's what I could tell you. Time, it's like a vapor. Poof, it's gone, right? The days fly by. The days can seem long, but the years go by fast. The world is changing quickly, especially with technology and AI. Businesses are consolidating. One company is buying another. All these things are happening. A new season requires new habits, new standards, new relationships, new conversations, and new levels of responsibility. I'm in a season of saying no. For so many years, I said yes. I was a yes man, meaning that if somebody said, hey, let's grab a coffee, yep, let's grab a cup of coffee. There's nothing wrong with grabbing cups of coffees. However, I can no longer say yes to every opportunity that presents itself. It reminds me of the book, Good to Great. And I wonder if you're like me, you're in a season where instead of saying yes, it's time to start saying no. Instead of going for the coffee meeting, now it's time for you to do things in a group setting. I have a group that I've been getting together here in the Kansas City area, and it's a group of business owners, and we've been having between 18 and about 31 people show up, and I rent out a coffee shop for 2 hours. The reason I'm bringing that up is because in order to connect with 31 people, if I were to do that like I did a few years ago, that would look like 31 separate, probably 1 hour coffee meetings. Well, I'm at a different level now where I no longer can say yes to that. I have to move people in a group because now I could connect and listen and add value and serve 21 people or 31 people at a time, for example, in an hour and hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. It's an efficiency. The reason I'm bringing that up is because the thinking that got you here, yep, you could celebrate that. Maybe you're at a spot in business where you've worked hard, you've been diligent, and yet you're not growing. And I'm going to propose maybe one of the reasons that you're not growing is because old keys will not open new doors. Before we bought this home, we lived in a 2 bedroom, 1 bath duplex. My wife has shared that story numerous times on her YouTube channel here recently. And my point is, can you imagine what if I would have came to our new home on 5 acres with the key to the 2 bedroom, 1 bath duplex? The, the old key would not open the new door. That's obviously a metaphor. The old way of thinking, yep, congratulations, it got you where you're at. Or I apologize, it got you where you're at. Whatever shoe fits, wear it there. And yet, here's what I could tell you: the thinking that got you here is not going to get you to what you desire in the future, especially with the changes in technology. New season requires new habits. If your life isn't changing, you may need to start asking yourself better questions. It's not just about doing more. What is it that you are doing? I had a gentleman ask me earlier, Chris, how many, he was sharing with me out of a place of frustration. I'm not going to share his name because that's not my point, but he shared with me, Chris, I kind of, I've tried the video YouTube thing. I threw up a video on YouTube, not him throwing up, but he put a video up on YouTube and he said, like, nobody watched it. What's going on with that? Do I need to subscribe to did I do something wrong? What's going on with that? And I thought to myself, well, the, what about uploading a video consistently like clockwork, pick a day of the week, and then you show up for the next 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, and then measure the results. The point is that there's a better question. The question that I think would be better from a coach's perspective is, what's my strategy for putting video? How many videos have I put up? How consistent am I being? We can't skip the process. And by the way, think about this. Who controls the number of views, the number of likes, the number of shares, the watch time hours? Does the video content and quality and packaging make a difference? Well, absolutely, it makes a difference. However, I can't control directly how many people tune in. I'm not responsible for how many people tune in. My responsibility is for me to show up weekly, consistently, and my strategy is indefinitely on YouTube once a week, like clockwork, to become a more effective communicator. So even if the video doesn't watch, I'm going to become a better human being. I'm going to become a more effective communicator because now instead of just winging it, I have to be intentional. I have to type up notes that make sense. I have to try to get to the point quick because people have an attention span shorter than a goldfish. That's my attention span, at least. My point is this, is that I'm not measuring the amount of views. Sure, I pay attention to that. Do I desire views? Yes, because those are people, real life human beings, and I desire to impact and serve more people, but I'm responsible for showing up consistently. The reason that's important is sometimes when it comes to growing, we need to start asking ourselves better questions. So instead of saying, why didn't my video get more views? A better question would be, how many videos have I put up? How consistent am I being? Am I becoming a more effective communicator? It's challenging. Like one of the this everything about this challenges me. It's awkward looking at a camera. Like right now, I'm looking at myself. My preference would be to look at another human being, preferably across in a coffee shop, having an actual conversation. Like everything about this is out of my comfort zone. And it's forcing me to become a better, more effective communicator. Even in this episode, I had some momentum going, meaning I finally got my hook down. I had my first point I made, and then guess what happened? I didn't realize that I didn't have my charger plugged into my computer. So congratulations, Chris, you get to start over. Right? It's those types of things, but it's making me a more effective communicator. Old keys won't open new doors. I was having a conversation with someone earlier, and it reminded me that sometimes growth, it can feel like this. It's a balloon that when we meet with a coach, when we meet with a person that challenges our thinking, we start having different ideas because I creativity, ideas for results. So as we're talking strategies in our business, we may talk through different ideas, right? And so in talking to a person that's full of ideas, full of energy, excited about growth and expanding and taking territory, sometimes it could feel like this balloon where what they say, it gives me a new idea, a different thought that I've been thinking, gets a little bigger because they push back on an idea that I had, because they propose a new question that could be asked, maybe even a better question to ask. They share an idea that I wasn't even considering, that I could consider implementing. They throw out the idea of, instead of meeting for coffee one on one, maybe you should launch a podcast channel to have more influence. Instead of winging it about business growth, they talk about strategy and being consistent over time. I could keep blowing this up. And yet, for the sake of time, what happens is it could feel like, boom, all of a sudden it pops, meaning that the person that is coaching us or consulting us is challenging our current way of thinking. Sometimes growth can feel like a balloon ready to pop because the current mindset, it's being stretched. On a call earlier, I was talking to a gentleman. I was talking about how I'm going to let this balloon go. I'm not going to pop it. It was talking about how I shared about, in the Bible, it doesn't talk about a balloon, but it talks about you can't take an old wineskin and put in new wine because the old wineskin would explode. You have to have new wineskin for new wine. So maybe you're in a season where that growth is taking new territory, doing things that you never considered doing, that maybe you thought it was for somebody else that's more qualified, more influential, right? It's always the other person, not us. And the point is that if you're in a season of being challenged, especially by a coach or a mentor, then I would encourage you to lean into it, because what you resist will persist, but what you embrace, God will give you grace. Old thinking won't solve new problems. You have to change before your circumstances change. Growth happens from the inside out. This year, my word that I've chosen to focus on is the word rooted. Rooted. For me, like a plant, like a tree, right? And my staple verse for this year is Psalms 1:1. Blessed is the man who doesn't walk in the counsel of the ungodly, or so on and so forth. But talks about he's planted by a tree of living water, whose fruit will bear in its season. I'm bringing that up because with a tree, I've learned that before it grows up, it actually grows down. And I like to think about trees, and I like to think about the fruit hanging off the tree. I like fruit. I want to consume the fruit and eat the fruit. And yet, long before the fruit shows up, the root system grows down. It's fascinating. One of the things I've learned recently about roots, a tree, and how it works, or any plant, is before it grows up out of the soil, it first grows down. And the deeper and more expansive the root grows down and grows, the indication that the bigger and better all the fruitfulness. So my point is that before things change on the outside with the fruit, we have to address the root side of things in business. From my experience and perspective over 19 years, will reveal the things that I've been believing that are limiting beliefs, that thing that hold me back from who I really am in Christ and the truth about who I am based on whose I am. Business will give a squeeze, meaning because of circumstances, especially when things don't go my way, will reveal really what I believe and who I am. The final thought, so the old keys won't, let's do a recap. First, lean into the discomfort. If you're feeling uncomfortable, perfect. You're right on track. Number two, old keys won't open new doors. And here's my final thought for today is I want to share a story with you. There's a gentleman named Roger Bannister. And in 19, I don't know if you could see this, he's running. You could see that he's exhausted. His feet are up. He's obviously running. He has his badge number on. You could see that you just tell that he's just giving it everything he's got. His mouth is open. Like I could just, it just gave me goosebumps actually. And you could see the people, this guy's holding his head, right? And this guy over here they're cheering him on. This guy has his hands up. This guy's over here writing something down. Like just the facial expressions say so much. And here's this story. If you don't know Roger Bannister, he's the first person in the world to run an entire mile in less than 4 minutes. A matter of fact, his time in 1954, May 6, 1954, he ran a mile in, it was like 3 minutes and 54.9 seconds. First time in history. Why am I bringing that up? Is because it was way out of his comfort zone. Do you know what scientists in 1954, what doctors, some of the best doctors and physicians in the world were telling him and others about attempting even running a mile in less than 4 minutes? They were telling him that his heart would explode. Like, don't even try it. The body could not, it cannot endure that. And so maybe you're in a season where you feel like you're wondering, is this even possible? Maybe nobody in your family has considered doing the thing that you've considered doing. Maybe it's never been done before in your family tree. And yet this photo, I got this one, I believe it was when I did my first full Ironman of 146.6 miles, where I remember thinking, can my body physically, even though as much as I've trained, does my body actually have the capacity to be able to endure what ended up being 13 hours and 14 minutes on my feet, swimming, biking, and running back to back, no breaks in hot, hilly Chattanooga, Tennessee, with everybody watching. You know what gave me hope? Is that other people, if I've seen other people do it, and if they can do it, I can do it. So my point is that you're going to have to invest beyond your comfort zone. Most people stay stuck because they make decisions that are comfortable. It's how they've always done things. It's how they always think, right? It's getting the coffee appointment because that's how you always done it. They make decisions because they feel safe and they're comfortable. Growth is always going to require uncomfortable investments, difficult conversations, courageous decisions, visible action before confidence arrives. My coach, Omar El Tatori, always says, so it's ingrained in my mind now, 2 years later, doing always leads to discovery. I would say doing leads to confidence. We get more confident as human beings as we put in the work because doing leads to discovery. That's that process part. So most people stay stuck because they do what they've always done, and therefore they always get the results they've always gotten. Every time a major breakthrough has happened in my life, it's came at a cost. Chris, what's the cost? It's me getting out of my comfort zone. It's having the conversation that I actually have the conversation I know I need to have. It's I hire the coach that I know I need to hire. I was thinking about this. I brought it up in a meeting last week that anytime God has done something significant in my life, he's always done it through a person. He's always sent a who, right? I think about the when I was stuck in my business, getting the same results year after year. God sent Rick DeLuca. When I was challenged in being a husband and father and in relationships with family in particular, God sent me David Higginbotham. I can go on with the people God has sent at just the right time in my life. Because when the student is ready, the teacher always appears. Every major, every major level up in my life has cost me my comfort. Also, it's oftentimes cost me financially. In order for me to stop resisting personal brand, to stop resisting having a cadence of showing up weekly on YouTube, letting go of the fear of judgment and oh my gosh, what are people going to say about me? How do I compare to those people who are so good at what they do, letting go of all those things and just trusting that if I feel compelled to show up online, to take my coach's advice that I paid more than $24,000 I've invested in now for one particular coach, and I just re-upped with him. So that times two. So not only going to cost you your comfort zone, it could cost you by writing a check. And I wonder if you're so committed to your personal growth and development, you're willing to hire a who. Thought to consider. You don't grow because you feel ready. You feel ready because you grow. The price of growth is always paid in advance in money, time, or discomfort. And you do not get to skip the process. None of us do. So embrace the process, embrace a different way of thinking, embrace feeling like a balloon that just is being expanded beyond what you're comfortable with, what your current capacity is. Keep embracing that because you'll never know what's on this other side of your comfort zone if you give up now. So don't give up. Keep embracing the discomfort. Find your who, learn from that mentor or coach, and take action because without without faith, without works, faith is dead, right? Don't be just a hearer, but be a doer. Put what you've learned into practice. So I'm wondering, out of the three categories of today, number one, being lean into the discomfort, embrace the growing pains, or number two, old keys won't open up new doors. Number three, invest beyond your comfort zone. Which one of those did you find the most relevant? Where are you at? And which one of those today did you find the most helpful? We'll see you next week.